Yeah, what's going on, you guys? This is Kevin, Full Metal Ginger, and yeah, after posting a ridiculous rant the last time and nearly suffering a mental breakdown, I thought probably about time we talk about some music on here. I mean, that's kind of what the whole channel's dedicated towards, not my ridiculous personal problems. So, sorry about that. Sorry about being inconsistent again. It's just I've been having a rough go over the last couple of months, but let's just wipe that clean and start focusing on something positive, like talking about some music. So today we're going to continue our whole classic albums I haven't talked about yet. You can also say maybe classic bands. Some of their, I don't want to say lesser known albums, but when you think of this band, you think of this and this album, and not necessarily this other one. So that's kind of what this whole thing is. And it's just it's fun for me. I like talking about old stuff. I was actually considering passing this one up or scrapping it altogether, or just maybe postponing it, just because I've been getting a lot of stuff in that I've been really excited to talk about. But I really did want to focus on this and get this one done. But we got stuff coming up. I got a Rotted Life order that came in. All kinds of tapes I got to get to. I mean, I've got a whole stapled list of things I need to get to. So I mean, it's coming. So be on the lookout for that. And today we'll focus on this, get this one knocked out. Some of this stuff in here, it's like, oh my god, this again, but I don't know, it's fun to talk about. So, if it's not your thing, I understand if you don't want to watch it, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to hold you to it. So, this one's going to be all about the Swedish bands that I still had left over in the collection I hadn't talked about yet. And, there's fun stuff in here. I mean, who doesn't like the Swedish metal? So we'll go ahead and start knocking this one out. Alright, so listening to, I know I just reviewed this, I don't remember how many videos ago, but the newest one from Funeral Winds, Sinister Creed. I may have said in the review that it was just not my favorite, because I did really like all their earlier material. This one wasn't really clicking with me, so I'm really trying to give it the benefit of the doubt and listen to it a couple more times just before I really kind of shit all over it. But on further listens, I have really kind of gotten more into this. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about it. All right, I'm gonna knock out the vinyl first, and these are like the most known, absolutely. So we'll just probably breeze right through these. So the first one I got is like, where would black metal be without this band? Of course, So I'm not really gonna. Everyone knows this band. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. But self-titled Bathory. Yeah. I mean, what is there to say? When it comes to Bathory, probably the first, most people are going to say the first four, they're absolute favorites. This is probably my second when it comes to overall Bathory records. Under the Sound of the Black Mark is absolutely number one for me, but that's just how I feel about it. Getting water all over it somehow. This one is just I think it's a 2003 repress on Black Mark, I want to say. Yes, there you go. There's nothing really to it. I mean, you've got the inner sheet with just lyrics and stuff, and that's all there is to it. I mean, it's just on black vinyl, so do we really need to talk about Bathory anymore? Yeah, I guess we could, but highly influential album. Them along with things like Hellhammer, Celtic Frost, Venom to an extent. You would not have black metal without this. So, at least as we know it today. I mean, you would kind of have it around, but not in the same sense. Because, when people are talking about black metal, what influenced them, especially in the early 90s, it was Bathory, among others. But, this one was probably the biggest, at least in my opinion, because when you come back and listen to all those albums, you can definitely hear more Bathory, to me, than you hear much of anything else. So, I mean, where are you without that? So, no need to talk about that one any further. And I'm just showing this one because it was kind of funny, because I had no recollection of even buying this. I had it on CD, and I knew I had it on CD. And I was just kind of going through the records one day, and I was like, when did I buy this? I don't remember getting this anywhere. Bathory The Return. And it was one of those, like, I've had this happen before, and I had to sit and think about, okay, yeah, I do remember, because I got this and this with it, so, and then it tends to come back to me, but still this day, I have no clue how I ended up with this. So it's just one of those weird things, I guess. In all honesty, I've really spent very little time with The Return. I don't know why that is. It's a really good album, of course. And a lot of people will say it's their number one Bathory album. And just for some reason, I've just not spent much time at all listening to this one. And maybe the self-title is so legendary, and Black Mark being my absolute favorite, so maybe it kind of just gets put on the back burner a little bit for me. But it's not that I don't dig it; I don't absolutely love it. It's just kind of one of those things. So I don't know why that is. This is also a 2003 reissue, again on Black Mark, and it's just on black vinyl. And I think the inner sheet is more or less virtually the same. Yeah, just a link on this side and lyrics. So there you go. Just kind of wanted to get these out of the way. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Bathory anymore. I mean, unless we're going to get down to some of the later material, then it kind of be a little bit more interesting, I think. But these have been talked about ad nauseum. I don't think we need to go any further. All right, so there's the records. So now it's a crap load of CDs and some tapes. Let's jump into it. This one is an awesome one, and one I've been looking for a while. At least I would like to have these definitely separately, but I don't know where in the hell I'm going to find them, and they're probably going to be ridiculously priced. I am almost 99% sure this is a bootleg. I can almost say 100%, but I wouldn't go that far. But it's just trying to find the information on this one. But this is actually a compilation of pretty much everything ever put out by Nihilist. It's got the Drowned demo cover here, but it's actually everything from Premature Autopsy, Only Shreds Remain, and of course Drowned. And yeah, and there's a few live tracks on here also. So I mean, like I said, it's pretty much everything they've ever released. And assuming this is the 2005 comp, it's almost certainly got to be a bootleg. I mean, there's nothing really here telling me anything different. But yeah, man, it's just pretty much most of what would go on to end up on Left Hand Path when they changed the name to Entombed, and basically everything here was on that. So, when you're talking about Entombed, they sat on this material so long, so I can kind of understand it. I mean, I wish they hadn't went to the whole Death and Roll thing, but I kind of get, they sat on the same material forever, really, because this stuff was all coming out in their 80s pretty much, and you record the demos of it, then put it out on, live albums. Yes, I mean, you got Premature Autopsy 88, Shreds Remain 89, Drowned 89, Bootleg from 89, the list goes on. So, I mean, I can kind of understand why they went in sort of a different direction. I mean, you sit on the same material forever, you kind of want to write other things, so it makes sense. But, yeah, like I was saying, everything that pretty much ended up on the Left Hand Path, except for Severe Burns, which would end up on Clandestine. So, yeah, but this one's a really cool one to have. You got to have Nihilist in your collection. I mean, so there you go. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I had to say about that one. Bootleg, again, I don't remember where I got this, but it's just, I would definitely like to have separate copies of all this stuff, but am I ever going to find it? Who the hell knows? And I don't know why I pulled this one out, but yeah, there's Left Hand Path. So, all right, moving on. Talking about an album, when they went on to do some other things. Here's Entombed with Uprising, and it's not my favorite Entombed album, and I would say most people would agree. But I mean, I do get some enjoyment out of this, and they were definitely in the more whole Death and Roll thing by this point. But, the riffs are actually really good on here. I mean, I do get a lot of enjoyment out of this. It's a really fun listen, honestly. Really catchy stuff, but still, definitely prefer the old stuff. But, I mean, this is kind of, if I'm going to listen to a later Entombed album, this is definitely going to be one I'm going to pull out. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not... You got some of these people that are just going to shit on everything. That's not Entombed. This is Entombed. This is something totally different. It's like... you don't control the band. Let the band do what they're going to do. If you either enjoy it or you don't, just move on. If you don't like it, just fuck off. So, I mean, I'm so sick of the fucking negativity with, this kind of stuff. But, anyway, not to ramble on about that. This was a really cool version of this, honestly. It's a Digipack put out, or Digibook put out by, I guess, Threeman Recordings, in association with Prosthetic and, SPV, but as I've said on here many times, I love later releases of stuff sometimes just because of stories and liner notes and things like that, and you get a little more bonus. And again, if you're going to do a digipack or a digibook, this is the way to do it. I mean, it's hardcover, very well put together, and yeah, just all kinds of stuff in here to check out. And this is them pretty much telling the story how they kind of wanted to go back to the roots a little bit. I mean, this is still more of the death and roll stuff, but you know, it's definitely improved, I think, off of say Wolverine Blues or whatever. But there you go. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pick up some later Entombed, this is one I would highly recommend. So you either like it or you don't. That's whatever. All right, these next two, I was almost certain that I had talked about these on here before, and I went back through all my old videos, couldn't find them. So I'm thinking I was either mistaking them for those Desultory tapes I was talking about a while back, or I just posted these on Instagram and just assumed I did the videos on them, but I don't know how that happened. This is honestly why, I mean, these have been on the shelf probably as long, if not longer, than most everything else. So, yeah, I've been meaning to talk about these forever. We've got 2 albums from Sacrilege. This is Lost in the Beauty You Sleep. Lost in the Beauty You Slay from '96, their debut. And it's pretty much melodic death metal, like you would expect, you know, the whole Gothenburg side of Sweden to be doing. I mean, very influential, or not, them being very influenced by, you know, stuff like Early in Flames, Dark Tranquility, At the Gate, stuff like that. So, I mean, it's very, very similar to those styles. But, I mean, they do have a bit of a darker edge and almost like a more dissection influence kind of sound. So they were kind of mixing them together a little bit at this point with this first album. And it just kind of gives it a more darker feel. Makes it feel a little bit more unique. So, yeah, this was put out by Flaga. And lovely blue shell, man. I love this shell. One of my favorite ones in the whole collection. But yeah, I mean, if you like any of the Gothenburg stuff, this will be right up your alley if you've not listened to this before. It's not that they're an unknown band, Sacrilege, but, you know, kind of overshadowed by some of the ones I was just kind of talking about. So that might, if you haven't come across them, that could be one of the reasons. But yeah, I mean, they've definitely been up there and been known for quite a while. And only put out 2 albums, sadly. So yeah, this is their first one from '96. And I've also got their second one, which came out in the year later, '97, the 5th season. This one, I like this one a little bit more, honestly, because it's got a little bit more of that whole dissection-inspired sound on here, in my opinion. Definitely more of the high vocals on here, and it's a little bit more raw, a little bit more dissonant, and just, again, you know, kind of brings that whole darker feel to it a little bit more, and a little bit more prominence. And you don't get me wrong, you still got the whole melodic death thing going on here, but it's definitely trending in a darker direction. So, I mean, a little bit more up my alley, you know, if we're going to talk about specifically what I'm into. And it's kind of unfortunate, honestly, because Daniel Svensson went on to join In Flames, I believe. So this band just kind of shut down after that. And I don't recall them ever recording anything else. I mean, they might have come back and done, you know, a few things here and there, but nothing like a full length or anything like that. So, I mean, you know, you get a band that's kind of trending, in your opinion, in sort of the right direction of, you know, what you're enjoying, and, you know, kind of you want to see how this evolves and where it comes out to, and then the band just kind of peters out and doesn't go anywhere after that. So, kind of unfortunate, but, you know, if you're looking for some good melodic death, a little bit more dark and not, I mean, I know all those earlier bands tend to be considered, you know, the big inspiration for metalcore and stuff like that, but this one is a little bit more, I don't want to use the same cliches, like evil sounding or dark, you know, but it's just the kind of vibe I get out of it. So check these out if you haven't. This is again on the Flaga. We'll get some tea. Jeez. Alright, this is a fun one. The first 2 demos from Dissection, like we were just talking about. So we've got the Grief Prophecy and Into Infinite Obscurity on here, and it's a really nice look at early Dissection, just to kind of see what they were doing on their first 2 releases. Nice slip case too. So when you're on the Grief Prophecy, the first demo, it's pretty much a straightforward, like, death metal kind of thing. I mean, there's nothing really out of the ordinary. You've got your gutturals, a little bit of nuance here and there to what they would become, but nothing like what they would do, like when you get onto into Infinite Obscurity. That's when they definitely are kicking in the bare essentials of what the dissection sound would be, albeit, you know, a little more unpolished. But the second you get through Grief Prophecy and you get into the second demo, it's just like, oh, there's dissection. You know what I mean? So, and then it's like you're just instantly ready for the Somber Lane. I was thinking there was some liner notes or something in here, but maybe I'm wrong. No, there's not. And I dropped it. But there's the booklet anyway. And hopefully I didn't fuck that case up. I did. Oh well. But yeah, really cool demo. Definitely stuff you want to have. You know, it's coming to. I like, you know, kind of seeing where, you know, bands start out, where they get to, and all their kind of progression as a band in general. So, but this is a really cool one to have. I want to say Nuclear War Now had these at least a while back. I mean, if you're looking for them, that'd be where I would start. But I honestly don't recall where I picked this one up at. But yeah, check her out. I'm sure you have. Almost done. This one was one that I've been wanting for a very long time. Actually, all the rest of these I want to talk about. I don't know why it's taking me so long to. Sorry, got the wrong one. I don't know why it's taking me so long to get around to some of these, but it's just kind of one of those things, I guess. So we have the 96 compilation from Grotesque in the Abrasive Evil. And again, like I'm pretty certain this is basically everything they ever recorded. If I'm not mistaken. I mean, there may have been one or two things that didn't appear on here, but anyway, this is the closest I'm ever going to get, like I was talking about the Nihilist stuff, to getting the original demos. But yeah, pure, unapologetic death metal. Great hooks. Yeah, it doesn't skip on the brutality. I mean, it's just everything you could possibly want. I think everyone knows Grotesque by now. A little bit of the German thrash in there, too, and a whole Hellhammer vibe, which really kind of sets it apart for me, and this has always been what I've really enjoyed about it. So these are... who put these out? Darkness Shall Rise Productions, and it's limited to 500 copies on the tape, and I have no clue what that number is supposed to be. Yeah, something 07. 70, it can't be 707, 107, 407, something like that. So yeah, I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I mean, I think everyone's pretty well aware of the Grotesque stuff and everything Thomas Lindberg was doing before they at the gates. But honestly, it would have been really cool to see this continue, and I know they did kind of reform there for a while, and we're doing like at least some shows, but then just kind of said the hell with this, and we're done with it after that. Yeah, which is unfortunate, but you know, yeah, I mean, if you're like me, you're not going to find the demos. Go check this one out. You can probably find this basically anywhere. Maybe not the tape version, but I know I've seen countless CDs out there, so yeah, there you go. And speaking of At the Gates, finally, you know, basically completed that whole collection, at least of all the material they did before they split up initially. So this one is the one I was really wanting the most, and was glad to finally grab it. The EP, Gardens of Grief. This is, yeah, where it all began, man. It was certainly experimental time for the band at this point. You can definitely hear where they would end up. But this is when they were still doing just some really weird riffs, very off-time things, odd tones. I mean, this is just some screwy shit they were kind of putting together. It's put out by the same label as the Grotesque. And yeah, I mean, very unrefined, but still really interesting. And I kind of wish they would have continued to do some of this stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the later material, but this stuff is just so weird that it just kind of like, man, I would love to kind of hear where this side of the band would end up. Also limited to 500 copies. I can actually read this one, 255. And so yeah, I mean, you know, you've got the weird stuff on here, but you know, it's not totally odd. You have All Life Ends, which is a pretty straightforward song on here. But yeah, I was kind of wishing they would do more stuff like Souls of the Evil Departed, which is a little bit more of their weird stuff. So, but yeah, definitely a gem right here, and stoked to have this one. So, Gardens of Grief. And then another one that was eluding me, everything from At the Gates. This is like I would see it in stores and pass up on it, and then I go back to the store and be gone. So this has been kind of like a 10 years thing, at least 10 years that I've been trying to get all their stuff. Debut full length, Red in the Sky is Ours, and mainly a continuation of what they were doing on Gardens. A little bit more melodic on here, but it's still packing the weird riffage on there. And I know probably around this time, or maybe during the whole Garden sessions, is when they were, playing a riff and recording it backwards and then trying to play it backwards. So that's kind of where they would get their. That's one of the things they did to experiment, to try to make a different sound. And I wish bands would do more stuff like that. Just try to play around with stuff until they kind of really grip on that signature sound. And that's kind of what At the Gates was doing at the time, was really, really odd time signatures and stuff like that. Which again, it would have been nice to hear them do more stuff. And you can still hear the direction they would go in, but I really, really love the combination of the melody and the dissonance on this album, and all early At the Gates material. So there's that. Just looking at this on here, I remember Kingdom Gone and Windows especially, some of my favorites on here. So yeah, really happy to have it. Then we have, I wasn't going to put these other two on the video, but then they actually popped up somewhere that I've been trying to order them forever, and I was like, yeah, I'm grabbing these, so I'll just go ahead and show them. Finally have Fear Kiss the Burning Darkness, which features Raped by the Light of Christ, probably my favorite At the Gates song ever, at least up there. But yeah, great album. And this one's got some bonus tracks of Neverwhere, Beyond Good and Evil, and The Architects, which is a demo version. So yeah. And of course this one I've been looking for forever, and this is one that I remember passing up at my old FYE, and I was like, I'll get it next time, and then I came back, the store was shut down, and this was like at least 10 years ago. So finally got Terminal Spirit Disease, which I love. I mean, this is pretty much the if you're going to talk about what they would end up with Slaughter of the Soul, this is the very beginnings of that. It's sprinkled in the other albums, but this one is definitely like a Slaughter of the Soul 1A, and then you have Slaughter of the Soul, obviously, but a little slightly less perfected. But the title track I still love. The Swarm, great song. Yeah, I mean, it's actually a really short album, but then they put a bunch of live tracks on here. Windows, Kingdom Gone, Burning Darkness, All Life Ends, things like that. So there you go. And I'm sure I've showed this before, but Slaughter of the Soul. There, done. And as a bonus, I wanted to throw this on here, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this one a long time ago. But I would highly, highly recommend, if you haven't seen this or anything, just go check out Flames of the End, At the Gates. This is back when they were doing their reunion that was supposed to last a year, and then they'd just be done completely with At the Gates back in 2008. And then, of course, they put out 2 more albums since then, which now I need to get those. Yeah, this is absolutely packed with stuff. You have their whole history of the band up until they split up, and then as this is taking place at the culminating of the whole walking show that's on here, yeah, their whole entire story pretty much. You have you got that show on here, and a bunch of live material over here on disc 3, which has the them playing Slaughter of the Soul in New York City, which if you haven't seen that, go check that out. Holy crap, that's like just one of the craziest crowds I've ever seen. But great artwork in this thing too. I love this image. So just wanted to throw this on here as a bonus, just to say if you haven't checked this one out, you do yourself a favor and go do it. Any At the Gates fan will dig this, I can promise you that. So there you go. Alright, I was trying to be really excited about this and energetic, but it's like I have so much killer stuff to talk about. Yeah, I mean, again, a whole list of things. All these little dots on here are like, hey, talk about this one next, so hurry up. But, yeah, we're going to get to it. I don't know when the next video will be, but it's going to be either my Rotted Life order. I've got a bunch of stuff from Nuclear War Now. I've got a bajillion tapes I need to talk about. CDs, too, but we're going to get to it. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Look for those soon. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll leave links if you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe if you want to do that. And, yeah, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.